BOTV Go app එක දැන්ම දාගන්න. BOTV Go SLT BOTV ටීවී බලන හොඳම විදිහ.
Near 100%. President Maithripala Sirisena gives 99% assurance of security in Sri Lanka, urges diplomatic community to lift adverse travel advisories on Sri Lanka. Investor confidence. UK diplomats say Sri Lanka long needed to address issues of certainty even before Easter.
These issues around the ease of doing business in Sri Lanka are ones which it's important to tackle.
More complications. Complaints against the Kurunagala doctor is on the rise. Trade unions claim external interference in investigations. Health Ministry to launch separate probe. Development to the north and east. Palmyra Development Fund launched with an initial capital of 2.5 billion rupees.
We requested that the fund be enhanced.
Fund has to be established through an act of parliament.
About 50 billion rupees are being spent this year on the northern and the eastern province.
All these stories and much more coming this Monday, the 27th of May 2019.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9.
AdaDex ඇතුළත ඉදීම සමනය කරන අතර විනාඩි 5කින් ක්‍රියා කිරීම ආරම්භයි. AdaDex දිවියට නව දිනයක්. AdaDex වෙතින් එසේ කැක්කමට විශේෂඥා AdaDex Head Fast ඉක්මනට සහනය අදම අත්විඳින්න.
Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Well, a very good evening and welcome to First at 9 on AdaDerana 24, Sri Lanka's news channel. I'm Katharina Chang. Now on to your top story tonight. The number of complaints lodged by mothers who underwent caesarean operations by Dr. Segu Siaddin Safi Mohammed has now risen to 51. Mohammed was arrested last Friday over assets earned through suspicious means. However, the suspect, who is currently in the custody of the Criminal Investigation Department, was thrown into the limelight when patients who were treated by the doctor alleged that he conducted sterilization surgeries against their will. Meanwhile, trade unions at the Kurunagala Teaching Hospital threatened to engage in a trade union action if any political interference is exerted or investigations conducted by the hospital on these allegations. The Government and Medical Officers Association further added that Dr. Mohammed was transferred to the Kurunagala Teaching Hospital, violating the standard procedure by the Ministry of Health.
Segu Siaddin Safi Mohammed, who is a doctor at the Kurunagala Teaching Hospital, was arrested last Friday over assets earned through suspicious means. However, the suspect came under the spotlight when he was alleged to have conducted illegal sterilization on his patients. 10 mothers who underwent caesarean operations by the hands of the doctor lodged a complaint at the Kurunagala Hospital yesterday, stating that they were facing complications in conceiving following the procedure. Today, another group of mothers who were treated by the doctor lodged a complaint at the hospital.
2010 අගෝස්තු 29 තමයි සිසේරියන් සත්කම කරේ. එදායින් පස්සේ මට බබාලා නැහැ. S2 පේන්නෙත් නැහැ දැනට. කිසිම හේතුවක් කියන්නේ නැහැ S2. ඇයි පේන්නේ නැතුව ගියේ කියලාවත් තාම මොකුත් කියන්නේ නැහැ. ડોક્ટર සාපි තමයි සිසේරියන් සත්කම කරුවේ.
2012 9යි 7 වෙනිදා තමයි කරේ. පළවෙනි බබාත් කොහොම හරි නැති වුණා. මේ වෙනකල් බබාලා නැහැ. ඔපරේෂන් එක කරුවේ 2011 11යි 3 වෙනිදා පළවෙනි ළමයා. ඒ ශාපි මහත්මයා තමයි ඒ ડોක්ටර් තමයි කරේ. මම මොකුත් පාවිච්චි කරේ නැහැ. ඒ බබා ගත්තට පස්සේ සීසෙට් කරේ. දැන් අවුරුදු 8ක් වෙනවා. තවම බබාලා නැහැ.
Currently, 51 mothers have lodged complaints against the suspect at the Kurunagala Teaching Hospital thus far. According to trade unions at the Kurunagala Teaching Hospital, investigations over allegations relating to sterilization surgeries performed on patients are facing pressure from external parties. Speaking at a media briefing today, its members threatened of a trade union action should there be any interference on investigations. Police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara said the suspect Segu Siaddin Safi Mohammed is currently detained at the Criminal Investigation Department for further questioning. Meanwhile, the Government Medical Officers Association alleged that the transfer of Segu Siabdin Safi Mohammed was conducted in breach of the Health Ministry's standard procedure. The GMO stated that the suspect resigned from his position in 2015 while he was practicing at the Dambulla General Hospital. The suspect was contesting for the 2015 general election as a UMP candidate for the Kurunegala district at the time. His resignation came in a backdrop where he was listed on the annual transfers of grade medical officers to the Kurunegala Teaching Hospital dated on the 31st of December 2014. However, after he lost the election, the suspect appealed to the Ministry of his interest to continue his medical practice in a letter dated the 8th of September 2016. Taking into consideration his appeal, the Minister of Health stated that he will be transferred to the Kurunegala Teaching Hospital as he was on the list of transfers in 2014. His transfer came following a letter issued by the Director of the Dambulla General Hospital on the 16th of February 2017. The letter requested that the suspect commence his service on the 17th of February 2017 at the Kurunegala Teaching Hospital. It is in this backdrop the Government Medical Officers Association charged that Dr. Segu Siabdin Safi Mohammed breached the standard of procedure when he was transferred to the Kurunegala Teaching Hospital, which they say was politically influenced.
Meanwhile, a special committee will be appointed by the Ministry of Health to look into the activities of Dr. Mohammed Shafi, who is currently under arrest. Minister of Health Dr. AdaDerana said the committee will comprise of 2 specialists from the College of Gynecologists and a member of the Sri Lanka Medical Council.
දැන් අත්අඩංගුවට අරගෙන තියෙන දේපල ප්‍රශ්නයක් පිළිබඳව. ඒ වගේම අපේ අමාත්‍යාංශය වෙනමම අපි මණ්ඩලයක් මම කිව්වා පත් කරන්නයි කියලා දැන් පත් කරනවා. ඒ කොලෙජ් ඔෆ් ගයිනකොලොජිස්ලා ඒකේ මම කිව්වා 3 දෙනෙක් පත් කරලා ඒ වගේම වෛද්‍ය සභාවේ නියෝජිතයෙකුත් එක්ක හොඳ විද්වත් මණ්ඩලයක් පත් කරන්න මේ කියන කතාවේ ඇත්ත නැත්ත තෝරන්න. මොකද ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්වා 4000ක් කියලා. දැන් ඊට පස්සේ ඒක 8000ක් වුණා. 8000ක් වෙලා වන්දසත්කම් කියන එක අයින් කළා. ඊට පස්සේ 8000 වෙනකොට සිසේරියන් කිව්වා. සිසේරියන් සත්කමක් මම දන්න විදියට නම් කරන්නේ ඒක කරනකොට මට එක්ක ශල්‍ය වෛද්‍යවරයෙක් ඉන්නවා. ශල්‍ය වෛද්‍යවරයා නොහිටිනම් තමන්ගේ තවත් සහකාර වෛද්‍යවරයෙක් ඉන්නවා. ඊට අමතරව නිර්වින්දක වෛද්‍යවරයා ඉන්නවා. හෙදියෝ කීප දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. උපස්ථායකයෝ ඉන්නවා. කම්කරුවෝ ඉන්නවා. මේ සියලුම දෙනා මේ ශල්‍යාගාරයක් තුල ඉඳගෙන තනියෙන් කෙනෙකුට කරන්නට පුළුවන් එකක් නෙවෙයි. නෑ ඒකේ මං අද අපි හොයාලා බැලුවා ඒකේ වාට්ටු වෙන සිස්ටර් ඔක්කොම කියනවා එහෙම කිසිම එකක් වෙලා නැහැ කියලා මෙතෙක්.
මේ තියෙන්නේ ආයෝහලේ අභ්‍යන්තර කරපු විමර්ශනය සහ අසෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යාංශය මේවට යොමු කරලා තියෙනවා මේ
කොයි කාලෙද?
මේ තියෙන්නේ
කොයි කාලේ? නෑ කොයි කාලේද ඔය තියෙන්නේ?
පස්වෙනි මාස 13.
පස්වෙනි මාස 13 කියන්නේ ඊයේ පෙරේද? මට නම් ආවේ නෑ ඔහොමද?
රතනහාමුදුරුවෝ කුරුණෑගල රෝහලට ගිහිල්ලා උන්වහන්සේ චෝදනාවක් කරනවා මේ වෛද්‍යවරයාගේ සහ මේ වෙන විමර්ශන වලට බලපෑමක් කරනවා කියලා සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යාංශය.
කවුද බලපෑම කරන්නේ?
සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යාංශය.
කොහෙද බලපෑම කරන්නේ? CID එකටද?
විමර්ශන කරන්නේ.
මොන විමර්ශන කරන්නේ? විමර්ශන කරන්නේ CID එකෙන්. CID එකෙන් දැන් තව ටික දවසකින් පටන් අර ගන්නවා සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යාංශ විමර්ශනය.
රාජ්‍ය සේවකයෙක් ඉවත් වෙනකොට ඒ රාජ්‍ය සේවකයා ඉවත් වෙන්න ඕනේ. දැන් මෙතුමාත් ඒ විදිහට මිල්ල ආස්සලා තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ නැවතත් ඔය සේවය පිහිටවනවා නම් අර ලිස්ට් එකේ ඉඳන් තමයි මුල ඉඳලා එන්න ඕනේ. කියන්නේ දුෂ්කර සේවය ඉඳලා තමයි නැවතත් ඒ රෝහල වලට එන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි මෙතුමාව කැබිනට් පේපර් එකකින් කොහොම හරි කුරුණෑගල ශික්ෂණ රෝහලට යොමු කරලා තියෙනවා. නෑ
ශික්ෂණ රෝහලට පත් කරන්නේ නෑනේ කැබිනට් එකෙන්. ඒක අමාත්‍යාංශය.
කැබිනට් පත්‍රිකාව දැම්මේ
කැබිනට් පත්‍රිකාව දැම්මේ මම සෞඛ්‍ය ඇමතිවරයා. එයා එක්කෙනෙකුට නෙමෙයි 3 දෙනෙකුට දැම්මා.
President Maithripala Sirisena had met with a few members of the diplomatic community upon their request to discuss the progress of operations carried out to strengthen the security situation in Sri Lanka. During the discussion, President Sirisena assured the foreign diplomats that the security situation in the island is 99% ensured. When inquired on the extension of the emergency, President Sirisena had clarified it was essential to extend emergency for another month due to ongoing operations by security forces, but had expressed confidence that the state of emergency could be lifted at the end of the month period. State of emergency was extended by a further month on the 22nd of May. Speaking to the diplomats, President Sirisena had also expressed gratitude to the international community for cooperation, assistance and intelligence expertise and urged continued economic assistance to Sri Lanka. Addressing ambassadors and high commissioners of the United Kingdom, Canada, Japan, the United States, Germany, Australia and the EU at the President's official residence in Colombo, President Sirisena had also called for a lift of adverse travel advisories on Sri Lanka issued to nationals of these countries. The diplomats were also told that the country is in the process of formulating new regulations and establishing new security institutions under the restructure of security services in order to thwart the recurrence of such terror attacks in the future. Speaking to Indivri Amwata on our political and current affairs program at Hyde Park, British High Commissioner to Sri Lanka James Doris said the UK is keen to change travel advice on Sri Lanka as soon as his country is fully confident of the security situation here. Now, in terms of foreign direct investment, the diplomat did not agree that investor confidence on Sri Lanka particularly deteriorated after Easter Sunday attacks, but said problems surrounding certainty and ease of doing business long needed to be addressed.
Confidence on Sri Lanka in terms of investment and trade deteriorated post-attacks.
Thank you. It's a good question. I wouldn't say that investor confidence had deteriorated particularly. I think that a terrorist attack, perhaps it's useful to divide perceptions into two different categories. One is the perception of how safe it is to travel here. And obviously the UK is one of many countries which has travel advice in which we try to give our citizens advice that will help them to take decisions that will allow them to travel safely. It's advice that I hope will be in a position to change soon, and it's something that my ministers are keen to change as soon as we feel that we can responsibly do so. What attracts our investors is certainty, a confidence about what the environment that they're going to be putting money into is going to look like not only now, but in a few years' time as well, and issues around the ease of doing business. Sri Lanka is not particularly well placed in the table that the World Bank puts together each year, and I do think that these issues around the ease of doing business in Sri Lanka are ones which it's important to tackle, and some of them are quite easy wins.
Leader of the Pivituru Helurumaya parliamentarian Udega Manpila raises doubt as to why police would not question Minister Rijat Baduddin even when sufficient evidence is at hand. He pointed out that suspects are found to be connected to the minister and it is only sensible to question Baduddin.
බෝම්බ නිෂ්පාදනය කළායි කියලා සැක කරන කම්මලට තඹ සපයන්නේ රිෂාඩ් බදුඩි. රිෂාඩ් බදුඩිගේ පක්ෂයේ භාණ්ඩාගාරිකගේ දුවයි බෑනයි දෙන්නම මරාගෙන මැරෙන ප්‍රහාරයන් එල්ල කරලා මිය ගියා. ඔහුගේ ප්‍රබල ආධාරකරුවෙක් වෙන ඊබ්‍රාහිම්ගේ පුතුන් දෙදෙනෙකු මරාගෙන මැරෙන ප්‍රහාරයන් එල්ල කරා. ඒ වගේම ඔහුගේ මල්ලිව සැකපිට අත්අඩංගුවට ගන්නවා. ඔහුගේ උපදේශකවරයෙකු වන මෞලවීවරයෙක් සැකපිට අත්අඩංගුවට ගන්නවා. ඔහුගේ පක්ෂයේ മന്ത്രിවරයෙකු සැකපිට අත්අඩංගුවට ගන්නවා. ඒ වගේම මේ වෙන විට සිංහල කාන්තාවන් වඳ කළායි කියන චෝදනාව ලබන වෛද්‍ය ශාෆි ශිහබ්දීන් ඔහුගේ කුරුණෑගල දිස්ත්‍රික් සංවිධායකවරයා. ඇයි පොලිසියට රිෂාඩ් බදුඩිගෙන් ප්‍රශ්න කරන්න බැරි? ඇමති රිෂාඩ් ආණ්ඩුවෙන් යනවා කිව්වම එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ නායකයන් බියටපත් උනේ ඇයි? ආණ්ඩුවට එරෙහිව විශ්වාසභංග යෝජනාවක් ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණ ගෙනවිත් තිබෙන නිසා. ඒ නිසා තමයි අපි දිගින් දිගටම කිව්වේ ජවිපේ මේ විශ්වාසභංග යෝජනාව ගෙනාවේ ආණ්ඩු පෙරලීමට නෙවෙයි රිෂාඩ් බදුඩින් ඇමතිවරයා රැක ගැනීමටයි කියලා.
Meanwhile, Propaganda Secretary of the JVP parliamentarian Vijitha Herath refutes allegations that his party is trying to protect Minister Rishad Baduddin by bringing in a no-confidence motion against the government. Addressing media in Colombo, he reiterated that there is no connection whatsoever between the newly established Parliamentary Select Committee on the Easter attacks and the no-confidence motion against Minister Baduddin.
සියලු දෙනාම එකඟ වුණා 21 වෙනිදා ප්‍රහාරය සම්බන්ධයෙන් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ තේරීම්කාරක සභාවක් පත් කරන්න. හැබැයි ඒක කිසිසේත්ම රිෂාඩ් බද්දීන් ඇමතිවරයා පිළිබඳව බලන තේරීම්කාරක සභාවක් නෙමෙයි. ඉතින් රිෂාඩ් බද්දීන් ඇමතිවරයාට රෙහි විශ්වාසභංග යෝජනාවයි මේ තේරීම්කාරක සභාව අතර කිසිදු සම්බන්ධයක් නැහැ. අපිට මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ කිසිදු ඇමතිවරයෙක් ආරක්ෂා කිරීමේ උවමනාවක් නැහැ. මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ සියලු ඇමතිවරුන්ට එරෙහිව මුළු ආණ්ඩුවටම විරුද්ධ විශ්වාසභංග යෝජනාවක් අපි ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තියෙනවා. මුලින් ඉදිරිපත් කරපු විශ්වාසභංග යෝජනාව මුලින් විවාදයට ගන්නවා. විවාද කළා ඡන්ද විමසීම අවසන් කරාට පස්සේ තමයි ආණ්ඩුවට එරෙහි විශ්වාසභංග යෝජනාව ගන්න.
Chairman of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna, Professor G.L. Pires today pitched scathing comments against Minister Rishad Baduddin for denying exerting pressure on the army commander to obtain information on suspects pertaining to the Easter bombings. Professor Pires proceeded to say that the truth behind the attacks cannot be ascertained if inquiries are intervened by politicians.
The Honourable Rishad Badiuddin is stoutly maintaining that he has done no wrong, that the media mafia has tried him and found him guilty. The Honourable Navin Disanayake says Minister Badiuddin should not be blacklisted, that this is racism. This is an attempt to interfere with the course of an investigation about 260 deaths and people being maimed, perhaps for life. Now, political intervention is a very serious offence. The act committed by Rishad Badiuddin in making repeated telephone calls to the army commander is clearly an offence under the penal code, and the minister can go to jail for it. If this is the way the inquiry is being conducted, then there is no way that one can ascertain the truth with regard to the people who are responsible for this catastrophe.
Well, we have more local news right after this commercial break, so make sure you stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. President Maithripala Sirisena has extended the term of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry probing allegations of large-scale fraud and malpractice within the national carrier Sri Lankan Airlines, its catering arm Sri Lankan Catering Limited and Mihin Lanka by another month. An extraordinary gazette notification issued by the President as per powers vested within him via Section 4 of the Commission of Inquiry Act. The Commission of Inquiry will operate until the 30th of June this year. The Commission of Inquiry, which was set to complete its task on the 30th of this month, had its term previously extended on 3 occasions. The Commission was appointed tasked to investigate into alleged irregularities in connection with Sri Lankan Airlines Limited, Sri Lanka Catering Limited and Mihin Lanka Private Limited during the period 1st January 2006 to the 31st January 2018. The Commission, which was established on January 31st, 2018, is tasked with the investigation of alleged irregularities in connection with Sri Lankan Airlines, Sri Lanka Catering and Mihin Lanka during the period from January 1st of 2006 to January 31st of 2018. The Commission, which began recording evidence on the 4th of June last year, comprises retired Supreme Court Judge Anil Gunaratna, Appeal Court Judge Gamini Amarasekara, retired High Court Judge Piyasena Ranasinghe, retired Deputy Auditor General M.A. Anthony Harold, and Sri Lanka Accounting and Auditing Standards Monitoring Board Director General Vasanta Kapugama. On to other local news. Traffic lane rules was restored today across main cities in the island, from which motorists have been given a grace period of 2 weeks to comply with the regulation. Now, according to police media spokesperson SP Ruwangunasekara, the traffic lane rule will be strictly enforced from the 10th of next month.
Despite the enforcement of traffic lane rule for motor vehicles, the number of traffic offences saw a rapid increase in the recent past. Considering this situation, police have taken measures to reimpose the lane rule in main cities around the country, with a grace period of 2 weeks given to motorists to comply with it. Accordingly, a vehicle should be driven on the left side of the lane unless there is a need to make a right turn or overtake another vehicle. It is also advised that driver ensure a clear view of the road ahead when overtaking. The rule will also be implemented at Polduva Junction Kote, stretching towards Nelumpokuna Junction from 6 am to 9 am due to the priority bus lane in operation. Within this time frame, buses should be driven on the left while other vehicles should only use the right lane.
මේ සති දෙකේ කාලේ අවසන් වූාට පසුව සිවිල් ඇඳුමෙන් සැරසුණු පොලිස් නිලධාරීන් යොදවා නිරීක්ෂණය කිරීම, ඒ වගේම වීඩියෝ දර්ශනාශ්‍රයෙන් නිරීක්ෂණය කිරීම ආදිය මගින් මන්තිරු නීතිය දැඩිවම ක්‍රියාත්මක කිරීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
On to business news. The much anticipated 2.5 billion rupee Palmyra Development Fund, which aims to provide funding for the Northern and Eastern development process, was launched today. Addressing the inaugural event, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said that in addition to the Palmyra Fund, 50 billion rupee of funds have been already allocated this year for the development of the North and East.
Proposed by this year's budget, the Palmyra Development Fund is expected to contribute heavily towards expediting development of areas in the northern and eastern provinces which were affected by the 30-year conflict.
I made an appeal to the Minister when the budget was being discussed in Parliament. We requested that the fund be enhanced from the allocation of 2.5 billion made in the budget to 5 billion. We have 8 districts in the north and the east. And if we don't have at least 1 billion for each district, we will not be able to start with any meaningful development activity in these areas. We don't have much time. Work must be completed to the maximum possible extent before the end of the year, preferably before the rain starts.
The funding will be used for various infrastructure development programs, especially necessary infrastructure related to agriculture and industrial sectors will be developed.
Actually, the fund has to be established very soon through an act of parliament. In fact, Honourable Sambandhan, we are really at the moment in the process of drawing up the act, and once we have the initial draft, I have discussed it with the Prime Minister, we will also seek consultations, view and with the elected members of the North before it is brought to Parliament, which I believe can be done within the next 2 to 3 months.
The fund now starting with a seed capital of 2.5 billion rupees. We will also get private contributions from the diaspora, from Sri Lanka, so that we could build it up. But there will also be another 2.5 billion which will be given. In addition to this 2.5 billion, there are 7 billion being spent on the North and East under Gamperaliya program. The Secretary of the Treasury told me about 50 billion rupees are being spent this year on the northern and the eastern provinces. We want to ensure that before December, all this money is spent and it's put into the northern economy. There's also money available under Enterprise Sri Lanka for small businesses to operate in the north and the east. Similarly, the government will be giving employment to 22,000 graduates. So there will be a significant portion of them who come from Jaffna. There are other schemes also under which employment will be found, and no doubt the money that is pumped into the northern and the eastern economies will also create employment opportunities there.
Sri Lankan shares fell for a second straight session today with Indian trading volumes amid worries of economic slowdown and lack of investor appetite for risky assets. The benchmark stock index ended 0.07% weaker at 5,291.49 and turnover was 444.6 million rupees, less than this year's daily average of around 548.6 million rupees. Foreign investors bought a net 183.1 million rupees worth of shares, but there have been net sellers of 5.7 billion rupees so far this year. We have Demantha Matthew from First Capital Holding on how the markets performed during the day.
The bond market yield curve remained almost unchanged as the activities in the market dried up with thin volumes, while the market participants were on a wait-and-see approach ahead of the pending monetary policy announcement due on Friday. In the equity market, of course, we saw the negative sentiment continuing for the second straight session, mainly dragged down by Ceylon coal stores and commercial leasing. A net foreign inflow of around 183 million rupees was recorded, mainly led by the foreign buying in John Keel's holdings.
Meanwhile, the rupee ended slightly firmer at 176 rupees and 20 cents to 176 rupees and 30 cents per dollar, compared with Friday's close of 176 rupees and 30 cents to 45 cents. Analysts, however, expect the currency to weaken as money flows out of stocks and government securities. Let's take a look at today's currency rates. Well, we had the latest from news overseas, but before that, let's cross over to a short commercial break. US President Donald Trump has backed a possible face-to-face meeting between the leaders of Japan and North Korea. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said Trump pledged full support to the proposed meeting, in which he wants to have frank talks about North Korea's nuclear policy and Japanese abductees. The US President said he expected good things to come from North Korea. The Japanese Prime Minister said the two leaders were on the same page with ambitions to see North Korea denuclearized, but they appeared to disagree over the short-range missile test conducted earlier this month. The big centre-right and centre-left blocs in the European Parliament have lost their combined majority amid an increase in support for Liberals, the Greens and Nationalists. Pro-EU parties are still expected to be in a majority, but the traditional blocs will need to seek new alliances. The Liberals and Greens had a good night, while Nationalists were victorious in Italy, France and the UK. Turnout was highest for 20 years, bucking decades of decline. The centre-right European People's Party remains the largest bloc, and analysts say it is likely to form a grand coalition with the Socialists and Democrats bloc, with support from the Liberals and the Greens. In the UK, the newly formed Brexit Party claimed a big victory. Third seed Roger Federer and Greek youngster Stefanos Tsitsipas cruised into the second round of the French Open yesterday. Federer was in control throughout his first round encounter against Italy's Lorenzo Sonigo with a 6-2, 6-4, 6-4 win on his return to Roland Garros. The 37-year-old Swiss was never really troubled by the Italian, who was playing in the main draw for the first time. Tsitsipas meanwhile defeated Maximilian Martere 6-2, 6-2, 7-6 in a clinical performance. The 20-year-old sixth seed broke Martere 4 times and had 36 winners with 29 unforced errors. And with that, we conclude this edition of First at 9. Thank you for joining us and have a pleasant evening.